Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be unboxing the Stormcast Eternals for Warcry. Here's our Stormcast Eternals for Warcry, and this is a great box set that's out of print now, so it's pretty tricky to get hold of, but you can still find it on eBay and places like that. And so I got really lucky. I found this on eBay. I was really happy with the price, and it worked out even cheaper than buying everything separate, including the cards. So I was really happy with that. And the cards for these Stormcast Eternals are pretty hard to get hold of as well. So if you can find this pack for a good price, I think it's well worth picking it up. But the box is in pretty good condition, and a little bit of damage there, but I was happy, that's no problem. And inside we're going to get 8 fighter cards, we're going to get the tokens and the ability cards, and then we're going to get a great selection of miniatures. We're going to get the Hunter Prime, 3 Vanguard Hunters, another Vanguard Hunter down here. It looks like we're going to get 3 Vanguard Raptors, and also 3 Aether Wings. So some great models in that set. And if you haven't seen it already, I've already done a video unboxing the Vanguard Raptors and Aether Wings, which I picked up separately. So that's a video on the channel if you want to check that out. But in this video, we'll go through all the contents, take a look at the sprues, and then we'll work our way through the fighter cards, checking out all the stats and abilities that come with these fighters here. Okay, so this has got no cellophane on, but we can open it straight up, and we can see on the tab, like all these Warcry sets, we're going to get the faction rune mark here on the tab, which is really nice touch. I really like that. And then we're going to open it up, and there's going to be a nice tray, keeping everything well protective and nice and neat. So let's get rid of that box. And inside we're going to get our instruction book. We're going to get our sprues, and this one's quite thick, so we're going to get quite a few sprues there. We're going to get our bases. These longer ones for the Vanguard Longstrikes, and these bases too, so nice size bases, I think 40mm. And then we're also going to get, with this one, we're going to get the tokens, fighter cards and ability cards. So let's work our way through each one. We'll take a look at the sprues first, then the instruction book, and then we'll work through all the cards individually. Here's our sprues. So we're going to get 4 sprues altogether, and I believe that these 2 are going to be for our Hunter Prime and the Vanguard Hunters, and these 2 are for the Aether Wings and the Vanguard Raptors. And this is a great set. The Vanguard Raptors and Aether Wings are really awesome, and you can choose between the Hurricane crossbows or the Longstrike crossbows, so you get some really nice options here. But let's take a close look at these first. So let's get these out of the way and zoom in a little bit. Let's focus on that. So some really great weapons. And at first I wasn't really sure about the Stormcast Eternals. They looked a bit modern, a bit like kind of Space Marines almost, with all their armour and everything. But once I got this set, it really changed my mind and got me a lot more into them. And I really like the idea of having this sniper unit, like attacking from a distance with really high power stats that we'll see later on. But some great sculpts again. These Aether Wings are awesome. Really nice, and I'll be using the previous Aether Wings I got for a set that I've put together with the Godsworn Hunt. So I'm building a little warband out of those, and I've done some custom cards which I shared on Patreon. So if you join the Patreon, you get monthly perks like that. But that's the first sprue, and then we got the second one. Let's make sure that's focused again. So these birds, all 3 that you get, have got different poses as well, which is really nice, and they're all positioned on these kind of cool twisted trees, which looks really awesome. But I love these. These are some of my favourite models, these Aether Wings. Really nice. Very fine and delicate, but really good quality. And I like these Stormcast Eternals against the kind of easy to build ones, because although they kind of are set in their pose slightly, it's just a lot more fun to build, I think. So that's the first 2. And then we've got these other sprues, which are going to be for our Vanguard Hunters, and also for our Hunter Prime. So we get some nice kind of fur material, and you can see on the inside it's going to be nice and smooth, but on the outside we get that fur texture, which is going to be really great, really nice to paint. We get some nice details from that. We got this thing, I don't know what that is yet, but I guess we'll find out, because that's on one of the fighters. And then got some really cool axes. These are great. So these axes are really good, and so they can be carrying these on their side, and you've got a couple of them. One can be holding one, Got a great looking sword there. So some really cool additions to add on. These kind of hand crossbows, little pouches. So you get all these really nice details and little additions that you can customize your fighters with, which I really like. And then we've got this one. This is the final one now. Let's make sure it's focused. So you can see again some great swords. So they hold a sword and a crossbow, it looks like, or they can hold that round thing, all these axes. I really like these axes, they look great. Another little what's this, a little like anchor they can throw on a rope, like a grappling hook. So these are great stances, great details. I love all this fur texture. This comes out really great with some contrast paints, so really nice. So there we go, that's all the sprues. And then we've got the bases. We've got these 60mm oval bases, and we can choose to use those if we go for the Raptors with Longstrike. And then we've got these 40mm bases for all the other variations. So it looks like we're going to get altogether 5, 3 and then 3. So I guess really with these we're going to be choosing the Longstrike to make use of the kind of long range weapon and use these bases. And then these would be for the Aether Wings, and then that would leave us 5 more for the Hunter Prime. So it doesn't look like you're going to get a chance to choose between the Hurricane crossbow or the Longstrike crossbow with regards to the bases. So that's something to be aware of if you do pick up this set, because if you buy them separately you can choose to have them on the 60mm bases for the Longstrike or the 40mm bases for the Hurricane crossbows. So that option's not included in this pack though. Next we've got our instruction book, and this is going to show us how to assemble them all. And so this is all in colour, which is nice. The black and white ones aren't so great, but the colour ones are really good. It tells us the different sizes of the bases we're going to get. So it says we're going to get 8 40mm, 3 60mm and 3 32mm. But I didn't see those 32mm in there. So we're not getting those 32mm. So they should be in this pack, but they're not. So that's not great, but no, not to worry. I'm going to build them as long strikes anyway, so that doesn't matter. But we should have 3 of those, so something to be aware of again. And then here we go. So we've got our Vanguard Hunters that we can build, and one of those is going to be the Hunter Prime. So we're going to get 5 of those all together, and so the legs are going to be assembled like this. And then we've got variations of the different chest plates, the head pieces and the little attachments that we can put on. Some great poses. They look like they're really in action, so that's really fun. And these are much better to build these than the regular kind of push fit easy build ones. Much prefer this. And then we got the Hunters, looking great. And then we got the Vanguard Raptors. So you can see here the different bases. You've got like the 60mm ovals and the 40mm round ones. So it's a shame they haven't included those 32mm though, just to have the option. But it might just be because it's like an older set. I don't know. Or it might have gone missing because it wasn't in the cellophane when I got it. And then here we go. This will tell us how to build the 2 different ones. Raptor Prime with Longstrike or with the Hurricane crossbow. And then we can choose between our Vanguard Raptors as either Longstrike or Hurricane there. And then going through, we'll get to our Aether Wings, and these just go together. They're not as tricky as they look. It looks like this is going to be really fiddly and not very strong, but once they're glued on, they go together quite easily and they're very strong. So don't be put off by that, but you do have to store them and keep them really safe because they are particularly prone to snapping, certainly if they're rattling around with other miniatures in a box or something. And there we go. And then we've got our colour guide on the back, which is nice. Really gives us a good look at all the different layers for the traditional style, for the different fighters and for the Aether Wings. So that's our instruction book. Now let's take a look at the cards. And here's our card pack. So in here we're going to get the tokens. And you didn't always get the tokens in the original warbands for the original Warcry Warbands, like the Corvus Cabal and all those. But with the sets that came after, they started putting in these tokens. So we're going to get these 2 token boards, and usually they're like colour coordinated for whichever kind of the Grand Alliance you're with. And so this one's going to be in blue, so that's really nice, looking great, just like you'd get in like the Catacomb set, and these just pop out, so really good. So you can never have too many tokens, and it's nice to have some blue ones for sure. So there we go, that's those. And then we've got our fighter cards, and it said we were going to get 8. So let's just double check that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fighter cards, and our like duplicate cards. So if we want to go have like the same fighter type card for different miniatures, then you're going to need these. And then we've got our ability cards, and these are going to come in all the different languages, but we only need the English. So let's just get rid of these for the minute. And here's our ability card, and you'll see on the back that we've got a fighter type. So this is going to give us 8 different fighter types, and all of these except for the Gryph Hound are included in this set. And so you'll need to get a Gryph Hound model separately, but these are really easy to find. You can either buy them as a set, or if you've got Underworlds, there's a good chance you're going to have a Gryph Hound already that you can bring in, so you can use that for sure. So we're going to get a card for each of these different ones, and so you know we're definitely going to need these duplicate cards for sure. But for the Stormcast Eternals as a faction, there's tons and tons of miniatures and fighter types that you can choose from, and there's 2 other card packs that you can buy. One's for the Sacrosanct Chamber and one's for the Warrior Chamber, and this is going to give you access to a load of cards. I mean, just tons. And then if you've got the books, the Warcry expansion books, then you're also going to get pages of fighters that you can use in your warband. And here's the expansion book for the Sentinels of Order. So yeah, you're going to find tons in here for the Stormcast. So if we just take a look, these are going to be from page 62. So you don't have to buy the card packs. Everything you need will be in this book. And you can see here, we're going to get tons. Each page has got 12 fighters on. So we're on to 36, 48. There's 50 right there. Loads. So that you can see, you can have access to all of these with the book. And so that's really awesome. So many different fighter types you can go with. And these books also give you a nice narrative. So that's well worth getting. And actually, if you were to pick these up now, you'd probably have to get them from eBay or somewhere like that. So you're going to be paying a bit more than the RRP. So it could be even cheaper to get the book now. And I'll put a link for this book in the description below. So you can pick that up at Element Games with a great discount, saving you up to 20% there. So it's great to have that book, and that's going to give you all those fighter types. But I really like having the cards, so I'll be doing separate videos for these card packs as well, just so you can see what's in them and if it's something you'd like to pick up. And you know, I wanted to get this set for these additional cards too, but this comes in a card pack that you can also buy separately. So you can buy 3 separate card packs if you wanted to, and then use all your Stormcast Eternal miniatures if you've got them from Age of Sigmar or something like that. So yeah, I'm really happy to get all those card packs now, and any that are missing there or any that aren't up to date, I can take all the information from the Sentinels of Order book. Okay, now we've had a look at all the contents of the box, let's start working through all the fighter cards and taking a look at their abilities. And we'll start off with the first one, which is this guy here, and this is the Vanguard Hunter. And I didn't show you when I did the unboxing that on the back of the cards, we always get the faction rune mark like this. So the back of the cards look really great with the artwork, and that kind of faction rune mark really pops out. I think they look really cool. But for this guy, he's going to come in at 165 points. He's got a movement of 4, can take 20 wounds, and toughness of 5. So super tough, this guy, for 165 points. Can really take some damage. And he's got 2 weapon options. So the first one is this range weapon, and it's a range of 8. And this is great because it's up to 8 inches, but there's no minimum. So you could shoot this from close range if you wanted to. And he can make 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. But he's also got an option of using his blade up close. So with a range 1, he can make 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So all round, that's pretty good for 165 points. It's very tough, can take some damage. It's got a fair bit of strength and a couple of weapon options. But it's the abilities that make the Stormcast Eternals really stand out. So let's take a look at the Stormcast Eternals abilities now, and you'll see that this guy hasn't got any other rune marks except for the Stormcast rune mark, and so he's only going to have access to 1 ability, and that's this one, the double, called Tireless Hunters. Add half the value of this ability, rounding up to the move characteristic of this fighter for the next move action they make this activation. So this isn't really a really exciting one, but for a double, you can add half the value of the ability and then you give that extra movement to the fighter. So you can really get him in there in the action. And with a range of 8 and a movement of 4, you know, you could start getting that movement either to get him closer to make use of his weapon or to keep him back but still in range to make an attack. So it gives you some tactical options there. But I'd like to have seen another ability for this guy. So it's a shame he's only got the one. But I think for 165 points, you get a fair bit there. And he's going to be pretty hard to catch up to and certainly take down. And it's going to be interesting to have one in your warband. And this is one of the lower kind of point value fighters from this box set. So yeah, good to include. And I think I'd probably put maybe one in, so I wouldn't need the duplicate cards, so I wouldn't have to use these for that fighter. But it is a shame because there is 5 fighters in there for this guy. So if you were going to use one as the prime, and then you're going to use 4 like this, then these duplicate cards are going to get a lot of action. So it's a shame there's only one card and not many variations for those 5 models. So, or should I say 2 cards. One for the prime and one for 4 of the other models. So that's a bit of a shame. But otherwise, a decent fighter with just that one ability. And you can also use the universal abilities, don't forget. So we can use those on all the fighters in this warband. Our next fighter is the Hunter Prime. And I really like this model. I think for a leader, it looks pretty cool. And this guy's going to come in at 210 points. He's got a leader rune mark and the Stormcast rune mark with a movement 4, a toughness 5, and can take 30 wounds. His weapon are very similar to the previous one. We've got a range of 8, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. But up close, it's a range of 1, 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So you have to spend a little bit more on your points here to get a leader. We're using another 45 points, but you do get those extra wounds there that you can take, and you get this ability. So let's have a look at the ability now. And so this guy's going to get the leader ability because he's got that rune mark. We've already seen the double tireless hunters, and he can use those universal ones. But it's the leader ability here, which is a double called Righteous Aura. Until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the toughness characteristic of friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. And so this is great because you don't have to have them, they don't have to be visible. So as long as they're within 6 inches of this fighter, you can add 1 to the toughness. But these guys are pretty tough already, and I think this is a great one to use for your Aether Wings, maybe even for your Gryph Hound if you want to increase the toughness of that guy. But certainly going to help your your Aether Wings a little bit and really strengthen up and toughen up that Gryph Hound too. So there we go, that's a leader. So this is one option for a leader that we can use from this set, but you could also use the other leaders that we'll cover as we move through. Next up, we've got the Aether Wing. I think these are a great addition to this warband, and I think you've got to include these in it for sure. Certainly if you're playing with the Raptors and the Hunter Primes, I think this is perfect. And for 45 points, you get quite a lot here. You're going to get the Stormcast rune mark, you're going to get an ability there, and it can fly. Got movement of 12, a toughness is low though at 2, and you can only take 6 wounds. And then dealing out some damage with a weapon range of 1 with those claws and beak. You've got 3 attacks, strength to 2, dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. So you're certainly not going to do a lot of damage with this. You're also going to be at risk of getting taken out. But with that huge 12 range and you can fly, these Aether Wings can really zip around the battlefield, can steal objectives, can even swarm objectives towards the end of the battle rounds. And I think these are really, really good for 45 points. But let's have a look at the abilities. And so we get the double tireless hunters, and we're also going to get this one, a double warning cry. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of this fighter. Until the end of the battle round, you can re-roll 1 dice during attack actions made by friendly fighters that target that fighter. So this is good. It might not seem that great on the outset, but if you combine this with one of the Raptors with the Longstrike or Hurricane crossbow that we'll cover later on, this soon becomes really powerful. And being able to re-roll 1 dice during the attack actions could be the difference between life or death. And you'll see that once we see these awesome Longstrikes in action, because they only get 1 attack. They can only make 1 attack roll. So having the option to re-roll that is really cool. And if you've got a few of these Longstrikes and Hurricanes, shooting from a long distance away, and then you've got 3 Aether Wings, and you've got a few doubles, which is a good chance you're going to get a few doubles from your hero phase, then that's a really great tactic and a great combination too. Now we've got our Gryph Hound, another beast that we can include here, and this isn't included in the set, so this is the only card that we get here that doesn't come with a model in this set. But again, if you've got Underworlds, there's a good chance you've got a Gryph Hound already, and easy to pick up as well. You can just get a Gryph Hound pack if you wanted to, and I think it's really fun to include these in a kind of Hunter warband for sure. And 150 points, you get a movement of 6, you get a toughness 4, can take 20 wounds, which is really great. We got the Stormcast rune mark and the Beast rune mark, and this one's going to attack from a range of 1 with claws and beak, and this 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. And so for 150 points, that's quite good. You get quite a lot there, but you've also got the ability to take into account. So let's have a look at that. And this here is, again, you can have the double tireless hunters, but you're also going to get this triple called darting attack. This fighter makes a bonus attack action. Then they can make a bonus disengage action. So this is really great for a triple. You get that extra attack action, and then you can simply disengage and even move away then after that turn. So you can really preserve those kind of wound points there. And I think this is a great triple and really suits this beast. And I think this would be a great addition to your warband. Next, we've got another leader now, and this is an option we can use from one model. We can either have the Raptor Prime with Hurricane Crossbow or Raptor Prime with Longstrike Crossbow. And so we've got 2 options, and let's do the Longstrike first. This is my favourite one for sure. I think having the bird, the Aetherwing on his arm is a really great pose, and stood there with a weapon like that looks awesome. If you have him like this, he can almost look like a regular Raptor with Hurricane Crossbow, which wouldn't always be a bad thing if you wanted to be a bit sneaky when you're playing. Maybe someone would kind of not notice that he is the leader and mistake him for a regular Raptor with Hurricane Crossbow. But let's take a look at the fighter card for the Longstrike first, and this is going to be 280 points. This is the highest point value fighter in this pack, and he's got the Stormcast rune mark, the leader rune mark, and 2 others that we can use. So that's really great. And here he's got a movement of 4, toughness 5, can take 30 wounds, and then the weapons, he's got this ranged weapon which is a minimum range of 6, maximum range of 20, can only make 1 attack, but it's strength 5, dealing 4 to 10 on a crit. And then he's also got a weapon if he gets up close, range 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So this guy really is a kind of sniper, and having that 4 to 10 there with the strength 5 is a great stat, really fun, but it's only 1 attack, so you've got that real huge range, but you can only make 1 attack, and that's why I think you need to pair these guys up with Aether Wings, and I think doing that is a great tactic. But let's check out the abilities that come with this leader option. Okay, so we know we're going to get this double tireless hunters, and also get the double righteous aura that we've seen, but you can also use this double warning cry as well. So he can pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of himself, and then until the end of the battle round, re-roll a dice, and then during attack actions made by friendly fighters that target that fighter. So again, he's going to have the same ability that we saw in the Aether Wings. Whether he's going to be close enough to use that, I don't know, but I guess as you get towards like later battle rounds in the battle, you could move him forward a bit, and he could take those wounds and absorb some damage while giving that re-roll option to maybe some of the other Longstrike or Hurricane crossbow Raptors. So that's really fun. But he's got another one which we'll see down here, which is a quad called Aim Strike. And for this one, you add the value of this ability to the damage points allocated to enemy fighters by each hit or critical hit from attack actions made by this fighter, this activation. So if this is high, like a 5 or 6, if for their ability value, you can add that to the damage. So that's crazy. If he's making a long range attack, he's only got 1 attack though, 1 dice to roll, but if that's successful, he could potentially add that 5 or 6 to the hit and critical hit. So, you know, the maximum here you could do with 1 shot is 16 damage that you can actually do. So you could easily take out a kind of strong fighter with that, enemy fighter with that 1 ability combined with that weapon. But he could also add it to this weapon. So if he's making 3 attacks and they're all successful, then again, you're just piling that damage up. So this is a really good ability for a quad. Bit risky if you've only got 1 attack roll, but I think it makes it really fun. And if you like the idea of going for one shot, one kill, then I think this would be really great to include in your warband. But that's the first option for this fighter as a leader. And let's have a look at the second card, which is this guy here. And this is the Raptor Prime with a Hurricane crossbow. So it's a little bit less on the points now. So 245 points. He's still got the faction rune mark, the leader rune mark, and the bulwark rune mark, which we haven't seen yet. So he's got a different ability. And he's got a movement 4, toughness 5, can take 30 wounds. So that's the same as this option. But he's got some different weapon options. So the range isn't quite as far, and you can also use it a bit closer up. So the weapon range is minimum 3, maximum 15, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 6 on a crit. And then you've also got up close, weapon range 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So some good options there, but this one's really great. I think for a ranged weapon, then having 2 to 6 damage on 6 on a crit, that's really great. But let's have a look at the ability and see what this new one is that we haven't seen yet. And so we know he's got the double Tireless Hunter, he's got the double Righteous Aura, but now he's got the triple Rapid Fire. And for this one, we add half the value of this ability, rounding up to the attacks characteristic of the next attack action made by this fighter, this activation. So this triple is really great. So you can add half the value of the ability rounded up to the attacks characteristic of just the next attack action. So it's only one attack action in this activation. But if we look back at the card, and if we roll a 5 or 6, we can round that up to 3, and then we can start adding 3 more attacks. So imagine this weapon here, this ranged weapon, where we could make 6 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 6. That would be incredible. So that would be huge. And at range, that would deal a ton of damage. So I think you've got to really look at having a Raptor or a Raptor Prime with the Hurricane crossbow for sure, just to make use of that bulwark ability, because it's crazy good. That rapid fire would dish out some serious damage, and getting a triple isn't really that high odds of getting that, especially with your wild dice. I think you'd make great use of that. Now we're on to the final 2 fighter cards. And so once you've built your Raptor Prime with either the Hurricane crossbow or the Longstrike crossbow, you've got an option of building either 2 Raptors with Hurricane and 2 Raptors with Longstrike, or you can make one of each. So you've got the option to do that if you wanted to. But with this set, I noticed the bases weren't included for me, so it's going to be a bit tricky. But I've got some spares, so there's no problem. But yeah, so you've got that option. You can really mix this up and have a nice varied warband. I'd certainly want one of these in there to make use of this ability that we've just seen, though. So let's start with this guy, and this is the Raptor with Hurricane crossbow, and he's coming in at 195 points. He's got a movement 4, toughness 5, can take 20 wounds, the Stormcast rune mark and the Bulwark rune mark. His weapon is 3 to 15, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 6 on a crit. So it's exactly the same as the leader we just saw. And then the second weapon is a weapon range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. Again, exactly the same. So this is 50 points less than the leader. You don't get the leader ability, obviously, with this guy, but you get everything else, which is pretty much the same, except for the wounds. You can take 20 instead of 30. So for 195 points, to be able to use that ability that we just saw, which is that triple dart in attack, where he can add, the triple rapid fire, where he can add half the value of the ability rounded up to his attacks characteristic. That's crazy. I would definitely have him in just for that ability alone. And that leaves us with the final fighter, the Raptor with Longstrike crossbow, and he's at 225 points. He's got the faction rune mark and one other rune mark here. He's got movement 4, can take 20 wounds with a toughness 5. And again, he's got that 6 to 20 range weapon, very similar to, or exactly the same as the Raptor Prime. And he's got 1 attack, strength 5, dealing 4 to 10 on a crit. And then with his second weapon up close is a weapon range of 1, 3 attacks, strength 4, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So this guy's going to get the ability that we saw earlier, which is that aimed strike, where he can add the value of this ability to damage points allocated to enemy fighters by each hit or critical hit from attack actions in this activation. So this could be for both attack actions in an activation if you wanted to take 2 shots. And so again, teaming this guy up with one of the Aether Wings, you get to re-roll. So if you want to go with this one, that 1 shot, 1 kill, you can do the re-roll ability, and that's a great pairing. So really, when I put these together, I'm thinking 225 points for this guy, but you also want to match him up with a 45-point Aetherwing. So really, that combination is like 270. So how many of those can you put together with a prime as well? I think you've got lots of options here on your leader, which one you have, and then how you kit these out. But you're only going to get 3 Hurricanes or 3 Longstrikes. But with that high point value, I think you wouldn't want to have your whole warband made up of them, maybe. So it'd be good to add in some of the lower point ones, like that Gryph Hound, and also like the regular Hunter. So, you know, having a kind of mixed, varied warband, making use of all the ones included here, is a good way to go. That's all our fighter types now, so we've been through all these cards. We get quite a lot of points here. I mean, just with the Hunter Prime and the Hunters, you're going to get 5 models that take you up to about 870 points. Then with 135 points of Aetherwing, you know, you're well over already, or over 1,000. And then you've got 3 fighters that you can choose to have a Raptor Prime and 2 Raptors, which are going to be, again, even whichever combination you go, at least 600. So this is taking you to like 1,700 points worth. So you've got enough here for an actual warband, but also once you start going into the narrative campaign play, you're going to have plenty of fighters here to use to get you up to that maximum 1,400 points. It'd be great to add in a Gryph Hound though. If you've got a model, I think that would be a nice addition, just so you could make use of all the cards, and it also adds a little bit of variety in your tactics and gameplay. So that's everything that we get in the Stormcast Eternal Warcry box set, and if this is something you're looking for, then yeah, I definitely recommend taking a look on the different websites like eBay and Amazon and things like that, and hopefully it'll pop up at a decent price. You might get lucky and find it in your local game store as well, so worth keeping an eye out for it, because I think it's a great set with some great miniatures, and it's really nice to have the cards and these ability cards too. Let me know in the comments below about what you think about this set, and if it's something that you'd like to pick up. And I'll also put a link in the description below to the Sentinels of Order book in case you want to find that. And that'll be an affiliate link to Element Games. It won't cost you anything extra. It'll save you up to 20%. And for every sale made through that link, I get a small commission. And that helps me make loads of videos like this. So thanks so much for that support. I really appreciate it. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'll be great to see you there. I hope you enjoyed the video, and this gave you a good insight into the contents of the box and also into one of the older sets that came out for Warcry. I was really happy to pick this up, and if this is something you'd like to get, I hope you can find it too. But thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.